Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel again. Today we will discuss about modal verbs or modals which reflect probability and certainty. आज चाहिँ हामी probability र certainty refer गर्ने modals verbs हरु माथि डिस्कस गर्ने छौं र जसमाथि चाहिँ हाम्रो must, should र ought to. So हामी basically चाहिँ यी तीनवटा modals verb माथि डिस्कस गर्ने छौं. So we will discuss these three modal verbs because these three modal verbs they are used to express certain probability and some certainty in some statement or some action referring statement. Okay, so but before I start my lecture, my as usual request to you all is, if you are new to this channel and if you like the video at the end, please don't forget to subscribe the channel and don't forget to share among your friends if you like the video. So now without wasting our time, let's start our discussion. Okay, so models of probability and certainty. Now as we discussed that we use these models must, ought, should or will to express some probability or certainty, and we use cannot similarly and can't. So abbreviated form of cannot is the negative of must rather than must not or mustn't. So we don't say must not or mustn't, rather we say cannot or can't. So to refer that some action or something is probable or not certain. Okay, so now starting further discussion, when we want to say that something is probably true or that it will probably happen, we use should or ought. So we use should, and should is followed by the base form of the verb. When we express that something is probably true or something will probably happen, then we use should. Okay, so after should, base form of the verb must be there. It means that after should we basically use, so after should we basically use verb 1. Okay, so when we have to express that something will happen, probably something probably will happen, we use should, and after that we use verb 1. Similarly we use ought, and after that ought we use to plus verb 1 or to infinitive. So we should arrive by dinner time. Now look here, this should plus base form of the verb or verb 1 refers here certain probability. Okay, she ought to know, here also probability that she ought to know. Now similarly, when we want to say that we think something is probably not true or that it will probably not happen, we use should not, the negative of should, and then ought not to, the negative of ought to. So there shouldn't be any problem, and there ought not to be that ought not to be too difficult. So these are the negative forms of should and ought. Okay, so similarly, when we want to say that we are fairly sure that something has happened, we use should have or ought to have, which is followed by past participle or verb 3. Past participle means verb 3. So when we want to say that we are fairly sure that something has happened, we use should have or ought to have. Like when we have to say a statement like this, you should have heard by now that I'm okay. So here the statement believes that something, that we are sure that something has happened. So they ought to have arrived yesterday. Here also, now it is assumed that it is believed that something has for sure happened. Okay. Similarly, when we want to say that we do not think that something has happened, we use should not have, negative form of should have plus past participle, and ought not to have followed by again past participle or verb 3. So you shouldn't have had any difficulty in getting there. So when we believe that we do not think that something has happened, so we can use shouldn't have and past participle. Similarly, this ought not to have been a problem. These modals or exercise or modal verbs shouldn't or ought not to have been a problem. Similarly, we also use should have or ought to have to say that we expected something to happen but that it did not happen. Yesterday should have been the start of the soccer season but it didn't. She ought to have been home by now but she didn't. So You do not normally, or we do not normally use the negative form with this meaning. Means we do not use like she ought not to have been home by now, or she shouldn't have been the start of, or yesterday shouldn't have been the start of the soccer season. Basically with this should have and ought to have, we don't use negative form. Okay. So now similarly, when we are fairly sure that something is the case, we must use, or we use must. When we are fairly sure that something is the case, we use must. Like for example, oh, you must be Sylvia's husband here. So it reflects that, or refers that the speaker is sure. Okay, we must know something is something about it. So it reflects again that the speaker is sure about, isn't it, that statement. Similarly, if we are very sure about something which is not the case, like we use cannot or can't. So this cannot be the whole story. He can't be very old. He is about 25 years old, isn't it? So now similarly, we do not use must not or mustn't with this meaning. When we are very sure that something is not the case, we don't say must not. We have to say cannot or can't. Okay, so when we want to say that we are almost certain that something has happened, we use must have followed by past participle or verb 3. Okay, this article must have been written by a woman. So when we are sure that, we use must have in past participle. We must have taken the wrong road. Okay, like you must have left it somewhere, okay, in the office. You must have left it somewhere in the office. Okay, so here we use must have and past participle. So similarly, when we have to say that we do not think something has happened, we use can't have followed by past participle. When we say that we do not think something has happened, we say can't have. Like you can't have forgotten me. He can't have said that. Okay. She can't have said so. Okay. He can't have he can't have missed that. Okay. You can't have, okay, gone there. Similarly, we use will or short form of will to say that something is certain to happen in the future, like we do in simple future. People will always say the things you want to hear, they will manage. See here? So we use will or short form will to express that something will happen in the future. Like she will be a famous singer. She will be a famous singer one day. Like he will buy a new car. Okay, so they will they will invite us. Okay, similarly we use will not or won't, negative form of will, to say that something is certain not to happen. You won't get much sympathy from them. Like won't be able to you won't be able to fly. You won't be able to fly if you don't book a ticket now. Okay, a ticket now. So or he won't So see us as we won't go there. Okay. Like she won't, okay, she won't mind if you say sorry to her. Okay. Similarly, they won't, so they won't replay the math. So these are some of the examples of negative of will. Similarly, there are several ways of talking about probability or certainty without using modals. For example, we can also say like bound to followed by the base form of the verb means verb 1, bound to. Instead of using other modal like should, etc. and ought to, we can also use bound to, like it is bound to happen. You are bound to make a mistake. She is bound to complete her assignment by this evening. So you are bound to submit your assignment by tomorrow. Okay. So are bound to you are bound to pay the tax. You are bound to pay the tax. Okay. So similarly, an adjective such as certain, likely, sure, unlikely, followed by two infinitive clause or that clause. So they were certain that you were defeated. I am not likely to forget it. So see here, an adjective such as certain, likely, sure, unlikely, they are followed by two and then verb one. Similarly, they can also be followed by that. Like here, see here, this certain adjective is followed by that. They were certain that you were defeated. I am not likely then two. Okay, so these adjectives certain, likely, sure, unlikely, they can be followed by two infinitive clause means two plus verb one and then that clause. Okay, so this much for today. Hope you like the video, and if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel again and share the video among your friends. Thank you. So hope we'll meet soon. तपाईँहरूलाई भिडियो मन पर्यो भने च्यानललाई सब्सक्राइब गर्नु होला र हामी फेरि अर्को भिडियोमा चाँडै भेटुन्छौँ. Have a good day.